This is Striking Gold. I'm Sterling Sincotta. Kenton Campbell, welcome to Striking Gold, mate.
Thanks, Sterling. Thanks for having me.
I must say I'm really looking forward to this chat. Being Italian, coffee's in the blood, so I've followed the Zarraffa story for many years, and looking forward to getting stuck in with you. Let's go back before we start talking about today. Let's go back to where you grew up and your origins.
So origins, I was born in California in a place called Mountain View, so Silicon Valley area.
Right, okay.
Yep. And parents split when I was young, so went up to Oregon with my grandparents for quite a few years.
Okay.
And then to the middle of Oregon in Eugene, Springfield area, college campus and lumberjacks I grew up around. And
right.
I tried school and did the typical entrepreneurial thing and exited at 15, ran away at 15. The childhood, it used to well on me. I used to think about it all the time and go back, I got picked on and I got abused and all those sorts of things. And then I realized that I wasn't, a standout. I was actually, there's a lot of people out there that have hardships when they're growing up, and it either destroys you or it forms you. And for me, I'm thankful for it because it formed me. It helped get me some of that angst, some of that,
bit of that
fight, and certainly the passion, which is for the bad times, right?
So is this middle school in the US?
Yeah, middle school, I was able to be with my grandparents, so I went back down with my grandparents for a few years in Southern Oregon.
Right.
They were middle school teachers, and that helped. They were old school, so do the right thing, and we'll support you. Didn't have that sort of support at home or in school, and I actually did the right thing by leaving. At the time, I felt like I was a failure. But
so what year did you? What year
I was a
that
sophomore.
Be? Sophomore.
Yeah.
So year 10.
Year 10.
Right.
And then ran away, and one of my mates, which was older.
What do you mean ran away? Literally ran away? Packed your bags?
Yeah. For 3 weeks, it felt like 3 months or 3 years. It was a long time.
Dead set.
3 weeks, I was basically on the streets and caught up with a mate of my older brother who had escaped sort of the torment with my dad. He had moved back in with my dad when I was young.
Right.
And I said, look, can I move in with you? And he said, if you could get a job. And so I went out, and I wasn't old enough to work at the time.
Yeah.
Because you have to be 16 in that state at that time.
Sure.
So I went out and saw this guy spray cleaning or gurneying this parking lot. And I went up, thought, well, it looks good enough. And I took it away from him and I said, you look too important to be doing this. I'll finish this. And literally that was my first job.
Really?
Yeah. And ended up being the owner of Taco Time.
He was the owner of Taco Time?
Yeah. Didn't realize it until we opened up. We were sitting there cleaning out maggots out of this old Del Taco that he was turning into a Taco Time. And he would do it instead of me because I didn't have the stomach for it. And so we cleaned this place up. They refit it. Yeah. And I said to him towards the end, look, I need a permanent job. And he said, okay, how old are you? And I said, I need a job. And he goes, okay, we'll get you sorted. And when the grand opening happens, here he comes walking in with his daughter and all dressed up and blew me away. I thought, this guy's willing to do anything.
Right, so you had no idea he was the owner at that stage?
No idea. I thought he was just a cleaner.
Wow.
Ended up being the owner.
Wow.
So for me, it was like all along life, you get these little messages, right?
That's a really early learning from a business owner perspective, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a few like that. Certainly when I was younger than that, again, in that time I had a lot of dreams. So when I was younger, one of the reasons I realized I got picked on was because I was very vocal. So the bigger guy, I'd tell him to go fuck off, basically, and I'd get pounded. And, I thought, okay, well, it's my fault. But what I realized was I was dreaming. I was looking too far forward. I'd say these things. People would think I was full of crap, and then they'd.
So when you're saying say these things, are you sort of vocalizing where you want to be when
you
grow up?
Yeah. As a young kid, I can remember. Well, at 6, I had my first business as a bottle collection agency. So I'd go out, little freckle-faced, copper-top kid, and go to all the drunken, university students and ask
collecting
for all their
bottles.
Yeah. And,
for recycling money?
Recycling up.
Yeah.
Did a $5.01 day, broke $5, went out, got a bunch of Coca-Cola and M&Ms, ate it all, drank it all, puked, and wanted to do it again the next day. So at 6 was my first sort of, if I make money,
that was
I
6
can
years
buy
old.
something. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I took that forward, and there's these sorts of things along the way that you get, right? For me, at 12, before I went to stay with my grandparents for the last part of my middle school. I remember seeing this guy drive by in a Mercedes, and he looked like a dick. He had this silver hair and was in an old convertible red, Mercedes, and God, he looks like a dick. And I want to be just like him. How do I get that? Always used to see him go to work. I never saw him come back, and I thought, well, he must work hard. So I took it as, if you work hard, you can have that. So it was those sorts of things along the way that really etched in my brain, and I didn't realize until later on in my 20s.
Yeah.
Just
those early learnings.
Fundamental learnings. Like at the time you think, oh, okay, but you look back and you go, that makes sense now. Yeah.
So how long did you spend at Taco Time then?
Look, I was Taco Time maybe 6 months, a year, not very long.
So about as a 15-year-old, right? You're 15,
as a 15-year-old, and got to move in, and then Stuart was his name. He said, you need to join one of the armed services. And as long as you do that, you can stay here free of rent. Once you save up, get yourself some nice clothes, get yourself sorted. So he said, but at 17, unless you got a full-time job, you're to join the armed forces.
Right.
And so I needed two things. I needed to be emancipated.
Yes.
And I needed my education equivalency.
Okay.
So I took a short stint.
Did you have interest in joining essentially the army?
Military? No. No, but...
but you sort of bought into him suggesting that's an option for you.
For me, I needed something to wake me up, something to grow up, and I'd seen the SEALs down in the beaches down, I think Catalina or whatever it is in not San Francisco, near LA. Yeah. Trained when my grandfather had taken me down.
Okay.
Seen them running back and forth. I thought, that'd be pretty cool. And then I realized how hard it was.
Yeah, until you did it.
That didn't work out. Yeah. But I got in, got emancipated, got a chance to see my father. He'd come back from overseas to San Francisco, and so he helped me emancipate. And
which is separation
for 6 months from parents. Basically say I'm an adult now. I'm on my own, and I was okay with that. Like I thought, you know what, I want to get on with my life. And it was challenging, but I got to see my father, which I hadn't really grown up with, hadn't really seen. Yeah. So that was a good 6 months. And then I also had a chance to go to a school, and all I did was went to the library, because all you had to do is put time in and then take a test. I passed the test and got the stamp and joined the Navy at 17.
Wow. And how long were you in the Navy?
I was in just short of 3 and a bit years.
Okay, so full time?
Yeah, I was supposed to be 6 years. I was actually in the dive fair program, so I was going to be a clearance diver called EOD. And I ended up getting pretty hurt. It was right before the first Gulf War. Oh. And basically...
Probably good timing.
Well, yeah, I cried when they said you're out.
Yeah.
I was...
So you were medically discharged?
I was medically discharged.
Right.
I was pretty upset at the time. Like, I can do it, and it's okay, and I'll, like, now we're on budget cuts, you're out. And thought, you've just given me 3 years of training. I was about ready to go do jump school and dive school. Yeah. And basically I was going to, go to EOD C school, which is the finishing school for how to, take apart bombs and mines and limpets and put them together and so on. Right. And I'd already fast forwarded to I'm going to be attached to recon, Marines, or SEALs. That was in my mind. So I knew I was never an elite athlete, but I was good enough. I was always a stayer. Okay. And I thought, you give me 3 years of training. I'm supposed to be in for 6 years, and you're just booting me. Anyway, two of my mates within the first year of Gulf War got friendly fired, killed, gone. Oh, wow. And I literally cried when they said you're out. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, it's the first thing that I actually was really good at. I felt like I could put myself into, and it was just taken away from me just like that. And it was heartbreaking, but they gave me a lot of training. Yeah. I learned that the world was different than I thought. Being an American, I thought the world revolved around America. Yes. And for most Americans, because 5% are worldly and the rest literally are naive like I was. Right. I thought, oh, you poor people, if you don't live in America, how can you be doing anything great? Yes. And it really woke me up. Right. So that was probably the big thing in those 3 years, training and really elite training, mentally and physically, and showed me that if I put myself to any task, I can accomplish it. And then also the world is huge, and go go find it.
Yeah, totally. Did you have that entrepreneurial urge at all during the army or the military, the Navy? Was it just
No, I didn't.
socked away at that stage?
I thought I would. Literally, I planned out my life at that point according to that was what was going to happen, and so I was.
So you thought a career in the military,
a career in the military, be an elite soldier,
right?
I also, because of my MOS, so that you can't just go in and be a special forces. You usually have to have an MOS, so a main operations stay. So you have to be something else. I was an operations specialist,
right?
So naval tactical data systems, radars, meteorology, anti-submarine warfare, that sort of stuff.
Right.
It's real technical.
Okay.
And that allowed then you to go in. So you couldn't just be.
Yeah.
You had to have something behind that.
Right.
And so look, for me, I got all that training and I got booted out. And at the time I'd met who had become my first serious relationship, and have my daughter, which is now 34 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And went back up to Oregon. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that relationship didn't work out. It was, for me, growing up without that really hurt.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to work. But when you don't have two people going the same way, unfortunately, she didn't think I'd do much. Right. No education, got kicked out, medically discharged without a disability rating. So they could say to me things like, I went for air traffic controlling. I got a 98 on the test.
For air traffic control?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's one of the hardest tests in the federal government. And
it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, right?
And you'd think,
air traffic control.
People are saying it now today, but I don't want to get too into it, but this was happening to me 30 plus years ago, where they said if you're woman or black, we couldn't discriminate because you didn't get a rating for disability. We're going to discriminate. We can't have you on. Wow. And I just was like, as a young kid, I was like, what does it matter? Don't you want the best person?
Yeah. Well, how old were you here? 23, 24?
I was 19.
Oh, 19?
Yeah, I was 19. Oh, well, probably just on 20.
20.
So I joined when I was 17.
Right,
So it was around that 3-year period. Right. It was on the way out. I took the test before I was actually fully discharged. Mm-hmm. That broke me a bit. So I thought, what? I took the sheriff's test, scored 100. Same thing. Sorry. It just was amazing. I'm like,
you get a lot of dead ends here.
Yeah. Wow. So working as a waiter.
Okay. In Oregon.
I tried until my daughter was 1, and just that relationship wasn't going to go forward. There's no belief in me. And again, I was saying these things. I started to say, I'll work as a waiter, I'll do a cleaning company, and then I'll grow from there and I'll learn. And so that's exactly what I did. Right. And unfortunately, she thought I was a no-hoper. Right. And just wasn't going to happen. So, again, with a great amount of tears, leaving my daughter at the time, I went out and ended up finding a role with one of the guys I was cleaning his office out, Gianni Arrigo. He
just a commercial office?
Just a commercial office. He said, after a bit of a conversation one day, he said, "You're an entrepreneur." It's the first time I'd ever heard the word. I'm like,
right.
Entrepreneur what? What do you?
Yeah.
And he said, "You shouldn't be doing this. You should come up with me to Seattle and help me, expand my business. And I'll teach you everything I know." Sort of like Val Morgan.
Oh yeah.
So the advertising with the slides in between
in the cinemas
in the intermission time. Yeah. And I literally went out on the first day.
That'd be a big business in the US.
5 contracts signed. It's big business in the States, and it's probably morphed and grown since I was there. It was a long time ago. It's just slides now. They've got video. And Val Morgan over here obviously did it really, really well. So I got to see, again, a different business. I got to sell.
Yeah, sell advertising.
Yeah. Went out the first day, five contracts deals. On the first day, and he goes, "I was just kidding," and I got 5 checks because to make sure you get the check.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
you got to check on the first
day,
appointment.
First meetings, and just went out and said, "Look, this is what's happening. Here's the prices. You get exclusivity
per industry or per business.
Per industry, depending especially if you take all of Seattle." And I just went straight across. Like I went to I think a Toyota dealership, and I said, "Look, If you don't want it, that's fine. If you want to, negotiate, the price is the price.
Yeah.
I'll go across the street to Ford and I'll
Yeah.
talk to them next. I got a meeting with them. Of course, I didn't have a meeting with
Yeah.
them, but I wasn't so pushy. I was like, look, I know it's good media, and I know that you'll do well, and you don't have to go forever, but that sort of, I want to get somewhere, and I guess that tenacity
Yeah.
really formed. That transpired for about a year. He didn't pay very well. I was living on the floor in his apartment, and promises of a bit of a percentage of the business, which never happens.
Okay.
All these learnings
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah.
But this would have been 1991, maybe 1992.
Okay.
I was-
Still
yeah,
in Seattle.
in Seattle,
Yeah.
and I was up selling to a Burger Master, which
Okay,
is like a
which you-
drive-in chain of 5 stores, drive-in. So the old drive-ins where you drive in, somebody comes up to your window, puts the tray on your window.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
burgers,
I know the ones.
shakes,
Yep,
fries,
yep.
that sort of thing. I signed all of Seattle with this guy.
Right.
And
For advertising.
For advertising, yeah. And he said, "You can have a coffee to celebrate. I just got this new U-Butte coffee machine." I said, "I hate coffee."
Fuck, really?
Yeah. My Nana's, instant, like they used to do over here.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, I'm not having a coffee." And he goes, "No, you're having one. Do you like chocolate? I'll make you a mocha." And I was like, "Yeah, I like chocolate." And literally I took a sip and I was like, "Man, this isn't coffee. This is heaven."
Hooked.
Drove up to a petrol station and went in to pay after I'd filled up. And the guy was like, "Just a moment." And he's making somebody coffees, the attendant. I'd never seen that before.
Right.
And he put up these 2 double tall lattes. And I looked at the board, and the basic beverage, the short beverage, was $1. And I flashed back to that 12-year-old and living across from Weyerhaeuser lumber stacks. So Weyerhaeuser was a paper and pulp and wood business, huge, still today, huge in North America. So there's trees, as in logs, stacked up as far as you could see. And I thought if I could make $1 for every one of those, I'd be a millionaire. And I don't know that I could ever make $1 million in one sale, but I could definitely make $1 million $1 sales.
Right.
And I went, this is it. Called up the lady I was seeing at the time. So what do you do again? She goes, "I have a coffee espresso cart."
Right.
Thanks for paying attention, basically.
Right.
And shortly after that, about maybe 2 or 3 months after that, I had my first coffee cart in Bellevue, Washington.
Wow. In
That
Washington.
That would have been, I think it was February 1992.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you start that? What was involved in getting a coffee cart going? And where was it? It was mobile.
It was a mobile cart.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what was big in the States, but especially Seattle, was kind of the birthplace of the drive-through and the birthplace of the coffee drive-through.
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Seattle's Best, some of these, big specialty coffee companies. Obviously, Starbucks is a standout as a brand, right? But it was us against them as a cart operator. So basically, no bigger than this table, espresso machine in the middle, 2 fold-up wings, a fridge, and push it out every day from a commissary that you'd clean it all up at night, and some storage. And the guy that had this Red Apple, so like an IGA, independent grocer, I said, I want to put a cart out. And he goes, "No, we had a coffee machine in the deli." And
What was his coffee machine?
just this little single group.
Oh, right, okay.
And I went out to actually order a coffee and see what it was like and get some lunch. And the girl was fumbling around with it.
So she had no idea.
And there's people lined up to get chickens and deli stuff.
Right.
And I could see the frustration on everybody's. And I just walked back in and said, "Come here and watch this." I said, "You're losing all this business because you're trying to do everything. You haven't really, done it right. Let me bring in hundreds of customers a day because my personality will do that." And he goes, "Buy the coffee machine off of me and give me a deal on paper." And I did. And it's like a month after that, I had an espresso cart out the front of his place.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that for?
Ooh, about 3 years. I had a 3-year lease with him on that first one.
Okay.
I ended up getting a second one with him, and then one downtown Seattle across from Pike's Place, and the Public Market, which is pretty famous over in Seattle. And about 3 months before my sublease was to expire and I was going to renew, he brought me into his office and he goes, "I've got good and bad news. The good news is I'm going golf for the rest of my life. IGA just bought me out.
Oh.
The bad news is they're going to give you $5,000 a card if you want it, but they're going to take that back over. And I was like,
Right. So overnight,
literally
business is gone.
Literally overnight, gone. And I'd just paid off an original investor that gave me $5,000
To set up the first machine.
And by then was able to get some bank finance for the second and third cart.
Yep.
So by the time I was out of it, I scraped together enough bus fare to go back down to my nana's and my grandfather's down in Southern Oregon.
Right.
And before that, though, and this is where the sliding door moments, right? Up to that point, I thought my life was just this roller coaster. I thought to myself, what have I done to deserve this? I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not a bad person. I always want the best for myself and people around me. I edify people. I always look for the best in people. It was a natural gift, and I that was probably the one thing I loved about myself was I never looked at somebody and thought bad. I thought, what's good about this person? And I just thought, what is happening here?
So every time you'd get on a run, every time something good would happen, something would smack you, and
life brought me,
and you'd start again.
The guys from Retail Food Group. So that last cart in Seattle, the last week before I handed it back over to the owner because I couldn't afford to keep it because of the payments, he was going to give me enough to pay that off as well. Mm-hmm. So it was a different person I had subleased from.
Right.
These guys walked by from Retail Food Group. And I was like, what are you doing passing the best coffee in the world?
Right.
And, before that, I'd had a few things just not go right for me personally. And I was smoking dope. And I didn't really drink back then, but I was smoking dope. And I woke up one day and I thought, okay, enough of that. I need to get my act together and get myself sorted. And literally it was a Wednesday, and it was the day they walked by. And for the next week, they came in. And at the end of that week, he said, here's a card. Do you want to come to Australia?
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, go down. And I wait for about 6 months, and I was dredging for gold in the Illinois River.
Oh, yeah.
I got more mercury than gold, which paid about the same at the time.
Right.
And I loved that. And I was growing my hair out when I had hair. Yep. And literally was just a bum on food stamps waiting for this call that never came. And my nana kind of said, are you ever going to go to Australia? Okay. I literally picked up the phone that afternoon and called these guys. And I said, look, I've had a bit of a sabbatical. I've gotten rid of my carts, as you all know. I didn't tell them the bad part. I just told them the part they needed to know.
Sure.
I said, I got all these job offers, which I didn't have a single one.
Yes.
I said, you can bring me or not. Because if you're not, I'm going to have to accept
And
one.
to bring you, what did they explain to you at the time? And did you know much about Australia at the time?
I knew Steve Irwin.
Right.
I knew Crocodile Dundee.
Okay.
I knew Men at Work.
Right.
I mean,
just the American things to know about Australia.
I knew there's kangaroos here.
Yeah. Dancing down the street.
Dancing down the street, basically.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'd never been here when I was with the Navy. I had no idea.
Right.
About Australia. I just thought, it was one of the places I wanted to come to. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the guy that I was talking to, the GM at the time, said, let me just get back to you. And he literally got back to me that afternoon. He said, I've got a ticket for you. You're leaving tomorrow.
Wow.
I was like,
wow.
So my nana made me a cut lunch.
So
gave me
RFG, publicly listed company at this stage?
They weren't publicly listed at the
okay.
time. They're still private.
Right.
It was sort of the changing of the guard when I came over after, everything that happened with RFG.
Right. And what did they have at the time? What was?
They had BB's Coffee and Bake, and they had Donut King.
Okay, Donut King.
And I was
in Australia, Donut King?
Yeah.
Right.
And they brought me over for the point of sale, point of purchase, upselling, that specialty coffee edge that Seattle had that they didn't.
Yeah. And this was to train, was it? Was this to train other employees in the business? To
train and to also maybe take it back, and that was the reason, was to take one of their brands back to the States. Everybody has those ambitions, which I realize now are hopeless ambitions.
Yes.
Like Australia's big enough.
Yeah.
It's hard enough. But they had those ambitions, and I thought, well, that's cool. I'll come over here, and then I'll go back and I'll be close to my daughter, which was, that was still an important part.
Of course.
But I basically, got the cut lunch and $50 from my nan, and I had my passport, and Went via San Francisco, got it stamped. What I didn't realize at the time was when they stamped it, they didn't stamp it with permanent work. They stamped it with visitor.
Okay.
And I'd find out a month later when I was down in Frankston, about ready to open a store for them. So I'd done training for about a month, hadn't been paid.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And the same GM said, I'm going to come down. And he said, look, mate, I'm sorry.
Issue with the visa?
Wrong visa, and we don't think you're worth it.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm serious.
Oh, you're kidding. Wow.
Yeah, didn't think I was worth it.
That's it.
And I said, $500 a week, anything, just keep me here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What was the commitment that they made to you at the time?
$1,000 a week, and just basically learn the business, help open up, and then
This is mid-90s.
go from there. This is 1995. Late 1995.
Okay.
So what had happened, though, the first day I was here was I got in a car accident, not because of my driving, because one of the guys that got told to take me out for dinner that night in Surfers didn't give way at the Gold Coast Highway where Tailana used to be able to go across. There's no median strip.
Yep.
And a car, I looked to the left and a car coming towards me. Oh, God, no. I was like, are you serious?
You
the
could see
Ford
it coming.
Fairlane ended up being that big.
Oh, wow.
My head went through the side passenger window.
Okay.
And my seatbelt broke.
Your seatbelt broke?
My seatbelt broke. It was that bad of an accident. I was in a pretty bad way. I was semi-unconscious. I was definitely dazed. I don't think I went totally out.
This was when you first got to Australia?
Yeah, first afternoon.
Wow.
Because I came here, I remember on the TV I saw AFL. I was like, what in the hell is this sport?
Yeah.
Which becomes one of the best sports in the world to me.
Right. You follow?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
What
Who? Brisbane?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of hard not to, right?
Yeah.
And I saw Bathurst,
Ah, right.
I think it was Brock and a couple of the old
Similar to NASCAR in a way.
Yeah.
Were you into NASCAR?
No, but I just found it different. It was just different. The sports over here, not just the accent, it was just something different right away that I felt good about it, but it's just like, wow, we all speak English, but we're not quite the same. There's some differences here I never would have recognized.
Yeah,
so
agree.
I get in the car accident, and 4 days later, because of that, I'm in physio at the Gold Coast International and met my wife. In fact, 30 years. We just passed 30 years on the 4th of October.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's
She
phenomenal.
put up with me. She put up with me for 30 God only knows how she's done that.
That's
she should be getting, Order of Australia for putting up with me.
I think the next 30-year story is going to be pretty interesting. But that moment, sliding doors moment, you've had a car accident, meet your wife, and did you meet your wife at the hotel? Was she in the hospital?
No, it was 4 days after.
4 days.
I was trying to tough it out.
Right.
And I was in the academy learning at that point.
Oh, okay.
About the businesses.
Oh, okay,
Had
right.
a bunch of franchisees, and
She worked in the business?
No, she was at the Gold Coast International.
Oh, right,
So a
yeah.
massage therapist.
Yeah.
And literally, I was looking in the wrong part of the yellow pages, and the manager came and said, no. That's not a massage like you think. I'm like, okay. I wasn't so much pain. I didn't get it until later.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he basically said, look, we went here last weekend. It's really good.
Yeah.
Rach was like to her boss at the time, I don't want another American. They just don't shut up.
Yeah.
And her boss said to her, no, you need to. He's in a bad way. And literally I kind of woke up from the pain and said, hey, this is a thing on Friday. You want to come? It's with a bunch of franchisees. I mean, would you like to be my date? Best thing to happen to me so far.
Wow.
She's like, oh, yeah. Where's it at? Ashmore Steak and Seafood. She's like, oh, okay. So.
Wow.
And then she realized I don't shut up.
So let's go back to when RFG. So RFG, after a month, have said that they're going to move on and that your visa was essentially you're here on a tourist visa, were you?
Yeah,
Visitors.
another 2 months before I could change visas.
Right. So what did you do then?
Well, Rachel pained with it a bit because she was probably going, at the time, okay, well, a friend kicked us out, so thought I was full of shit, which was sad, but she's still a good friend because she came back and apologized, and she's actually a really good friend because she was just looking after her, right? She probably looked at me and, why not? Here's an American say he's going to do all this stuff and he's got nothing going for him, so taking care of a friend, and Rachel's dad, though, which was in the stunt industry for 45 years.
Was in the what, sorry?
He was a stuntman.
Oh, stuntman.
So
Wow.
everything from Mad Max to Mission Impossible to, TV, everything
cool.
for a long time. And he's a big statured man and quiet.
Right.
And I remember he came over when Rachel and I were kind of not sure what was going to happen. And she was crying to him on the phone, saying, I don't know what to do. I can't afford to keep him. And
Right.
he came over and all I heard him say was, I like him. And apparently at that point, she told me later, he doesn't like Americans because he works with them all the time.
Right.
And she went, okay. And he goes, it'll be all right. And
He'll be right. He'll be right.
Take him down to Sydney, get him on a job with me and pay him a little bit of cash and folding and it'll be okay. I like him. So just chill out.
So you got into the movie business?
I went down to help with Water Rats.
Did you?
The first episode.
I remember it.
Yeah, the pilot.
I remember it.
Met
Yep.
Jake Lagaya, and when he was just Jake Lagaya,
Yeah.
it was like, his start.
Yep.
But it was just good because I got a
So you're
chance
like a production assist
meet
or?
him. Hey?
You were like
no,
production
I
assist
was on
or?
the pyrotechnic side with him with special effects. And,
Oh, wow.
And helped him with just setting up stuff. I
Yeah.
was a lackey.
Gotcha.
I was happy to do it. I hadn't been to Sydney at that point, so it was pretty cool doing a road trip with him down to Sydney. But look, it's one of the things. He was one of the people, and he's passed away now, which, it was my best friend for 18 years.
Wow.
He helped me be the father that I am today.
Okay.
So supportive.
Yep.
Never once did he ever begrudge me, or he always believed in me. And he might have said at times, I don't know how you do it, but you do it. And there's things in you that I don't see in other people. And he always had my back, And,
Wow, that's fantastic.
it's people like that I needed to in my life because, when we're in our lives and we don't have that sort of support, you're very lucky later in life to have that sort of support that you need, especially when it came to being a good dad, because I was unsure, when you don't, I had my grandfather, which was, an incredible man, an incredible human being, but, that was only for a few years. And it was still quality time with a good man, but to have somebody like Bob was just incredible and have that belief. When I needed the bridging visa money, $850, he didn't say anything, just got up, walked off. I was like, oh, there goes that. And he came back with the money. And I was like, I'll pay you. And he goes, I know you will.
Yeah.
Have a beer. I don't like beer. Back then, I didn't even drink beer. He was like, give me a big old tally. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've had, a lot of. At some point, you've fed from. Influential people in your life in little bits and pieces, even back at the taco time, where you're just starting to learn little bits from a roadmap of people. It might not have ended the way that you thought they were going to end, but it led you through to obviously where you are today. Let's talk Zarraffas. So you're the founder of Zarraffas.
Yeah, me and Rach
did it together
30 years ago. Next year, and
right,
yeah,
and so you've grown to 80 locations.
We'll be 90 by the end of the year.
90 locations by the end of the year,
and well on our way to the target of 2032, having 200 stores. We had 17 stores this year.
Right,
alone.
opening 17 this year. Yeah. Let's go back to store number one. Obviously, you remember it.
Oh yeah,
and I'm guessing it wasn't easy. And there's no hiding from the fact hospitality is hard.
Yeah.
Cafe is probably one of the hardest businesses in Australia, if not the hardest.
Yeah.
I think they're closing at more rate than any other business in Australia. Talk me through store one, shop one.
Well, back then I had Pinner Drive as a roastery, so I started out roasting for people and
as a wholesaler,
as a coffee roasting. Yep. And
let's talk about the coffee. So when you were wholesaling, you were roasting it. You were sourcing beans from all over the world, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the coffee first.
Well, because I done the espresso cart thing, I wanted to try something different. I knew I could work at nights and weekends, so I could maintain, which I did. I worked about 100 hours for the first couple of years every week. Rachel just handed me a shirt and say, "You're going here next," and I'd just kind of have a couple of coffees and go. But Monday through Friday, basically, I'd go out and I'd sell, roast, and deliver the coffee. But always believed in if you can't make something that's horrible taste good. So
Yeah,
I always believed in buying something that was accessible year round in bulk, but was at a high level. So specialty coffee is that it's 80 points or higher grading, no different than they grade wines or anything else. So we're still specialty coffee because we buy specialty coffee.
As a green bean.
Yeah, as a green bean.
Yeah.
So the intent was always having something that was remarkable above and beyond any of the other coffee that was out there. The unfortunate part over the first year was people wanted free and cheap. They wanted free machines and cheap coffee. And I just wasn't going to do that. And
why not? That's pretty much
because it's against everything I believe in the industry. If you're good to coffee, it'll be good to you. And I felt like that wasn't being good to the coffee, that it cheapened it. And so that's what pushed me into that first store at Australia Fair.
Right.
I went out looking. I thought, these guys have no idea what's going on. And I think I can catch the wave of coffee like it was in the States, like I knew it is in the specialty coffee shops. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go for it.
So we're talking 96 here?
That was 96. I started talking to him.
Yep.
And then in 97, we opened up
Right.
our first retail store on Australia Fair upstairs.
Right.
I talked him into 20 grand up front, and then leveraged a little bit with Rach. In fact, she was the first person to put a loan in of 9 grand. I've got it next to my office.
Oh, yeah.
As you go into the office, it's 9 grand. It was 15% back then, too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I'm like, there's nothing now.
I hope she's still not capitalizing it.
And, but yeah, she's a Warren Buffett. She's done pretty well at the dividends
left it
now.
in. She left the 9
She's
grand
left it all
in.
Yeah. But it just shows you, 9 grand, and it seemed like a lot of money because it was a lot of money back then. That was the seed money. And then I was able to leverage the management of Australia Fair and to give me a bit more.
So
Rachel would give me a bit more on leasing.
Fit out incentive?
Yeah, fit out incentive. And we opened up the first retail shop upstairs, and it was where I could afford it. It was only 23 and a half square meters.
Yeah.
It was like a cart mentality, but in a shop.
Okay.
And I knew that I would be able to get them to keep coming in. I knew that I start with one and I get one converted into a Zarraphite, a disciple of the word Zarraffas.
Yes.
Somebody who believed, like I did, that I wanted to make their day better. And I was going to give them a good coffee and a smile every day. That would never change. And after the first year, you get 365 new customers. That second year looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And in essence, that's really the start of what the Zarraffa's ethos and the culture went off of that, and still today is the most important thing, product and service.
Yeah, and how did you come up with Zarraffa's as a brand?
I was up in the pub. It used to be Trader's Duke's. I was waiting for Rach to pick me up in Australia Fair.
I was going to say in the pub.
This was when I was working at Kofi's. One of the jobs I had was in a cafe in Australia Fair.
Right.
While I was doing all the sales of coffee, and they were buying my coffee.
Oh, okay.
So I was working there
was
as well.
Was your wholesale business Zarraffa's?
It was, yeah.
Right.
So it started off Zarraffa's.
Yeah.
So before that, though, so this is going back, I had those 3 months or 2 months left in my visa. I couldn't work.
Yeah.
And Rachel gave me for Christmas a file of facts, a little tiny thing, and I wrote out everything I need to have a specialty coffee business. And the first thing on there was the brand. And I wanted animals. I had monkeys, I had rhinos, and I had the giraffe, but I didn't like giraffe on its own. Giraffe coffee. No, I went into the library at Australia Fair when it was still there, and I opened up one of the pages in one of the animal books, and it said Zarraffa, Arabic for giraffe. And I was like,
you're kidding.
That's it. And I was literally on the train up to Brisbane within the week, and I trademarked Zarraffa.
Right.
Yeah.
And who came up with the brand? Who came up with the design?
I came up with the design.
Yeah.
And then I had it stitched up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Went home on the old computers and kind of put it on
paint.
On paint, basically. Yep, paint. And
Yes.
a few years later, when I could afford it, I had a graphic artist rezhush it and get it all looking straight and good to the logo you see today. But I always knew coffee of the giraffe. So what got better as I researched it is it's the old Arabia, it's the old Silk Road. And coffee came from Ethiopia, which is where we still buy over 50% of our coffee in our blend and for our chain. And that region of Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Kenya, where we put the blend together, the Maasai giraffe, which is our main blend, the Maasai, not the Maasai that jump.
Yeah.
It's with one A. Yes. So the Maasai giraffe comes from that region. So my feeling was it was the truth of coffee.
Right.
And I owed and still owe today my respect to those people that do what they do every day, because there's so much that goes into coffee.
Yeah.
It's not just this brown
Yeah.
object that comes in, you grind and you throw into a machine and make it. There's a lot of process.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of process that goes into it. So for me, respecting that and holding our end of the bargain up, which was delivering on the promise of a really sensational coffee with great service,
Yep.
was always going to reign true.
So do you think the brand evolved? The meaning of the brand evolved the deeper it went? Obviously, if you to kind of get it going and to get the store going at Australia Fair, it was you opened a book, you sort of it's popped out at you, so to speak. But it was probably very surface level at that stage.
Very
you
surface level.
You got the logo up on the wall.
I like
You've
the
opened
name.
up.
Yeah, I like.
But then the more you got into it, the more it had meaning, and the more meaning you could give to the brand as the proof of concept started to deliver.
It just became better and better. In fact, we're now, after 30 years, we're now embellishing the things that we didn't, which is all the wildlife that goes with it. So we're a brand which, in these regions, you've got the plight of the rhino, which we've got Coffee for the Rhinos, a project we've been doing for over a decade now,
Right.
with conservancies in Lewa. We now have gone to a conservancy that the Irwins from Australia Zoo and Steve's legacy back,
Right.
Wildlife Warriors, which is called Old Pecheta, which we've now gone across Mount Kenya to the other side, literally, to this new reserve, which do it really, really well.
Wow.
Supporting the rhino. And again, these giraffe that we talk about, they're all floating around and they're protected as well. And it helps the community. And when you help the community helps the very animals that are there. You need to have it all encompassing. I learned a lot about conservation from that. So
You spent time there, obviously.
I spent a lot of years. I haven't been since COVID, but I spent 2-3 trips a year. I was over there buying coffee and doing conservation behind the scenes. And to the point where the franchisees are like, you need to tell people.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what you're doing.
Well, yeah, but for me, it was like, I'm doing it because it needs to be done, not because I want a pat on the back. Where we buy fair trade, we aren't fair trade. We do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
And they're like, yeah, but they don't think we're doing anything. Casey, you need to go out and you need to do something. So we've got the more than just a cup of coffee because of that. So the brand is more than just that. And the customer is always going to be more than just a number. It's harder as you get bigger, but it's not impossible. And the brand still today, I'm so proud of it, still stands for that. As we grow and become a national company, it still embellishes a culture of that arm's length relationship, like at the cart, that, I'm always going to remember your name and I'm always going to remember your coffee if you come into my shop. Now we're giving the automation and the other things so that if you go to another shop, you can get the same coffee. You're ordering the exact same. So all those wonderful things that can surround a business when you have the monetary side of it come good. But back then, and still today, all you want to know is that the person cares about you a bit and that they're giving you a good product. That's the reason why you'll keep going back.
Which is almost like a small to one-off cafe style mentality. It's you look after the customers because the competition is so great. You want to really make sure you remember their name, remember their order. Sometimes you walk in, it's not even, I don't have to say anything, it's just a nod. I go up and pay and my coffee's waiting for me. That's pretty cool. Do you think when you started, when you back to store one, you had the experiences out of Seattle, you saw what Starbucks was doing in the space and since done in the space. Did you think in 96, 97 that you're crafting a business and putting a business together for scale? Or did you think you did? Because I'm tipping you did.
After the first store, I know we were making about $180,000 a year. And Rachel was like, why do you want another store that's good money? And I said, I was like, I want to own the world. I literally was so psycho. It's like, I want more.
Right.
And so Harbour Town came.
So you owned Southport Australia Fair on your outright,
and then Harbour Town
on your own,
and then and then Rachel called me up because it amalgamated everything into Harbour Town. So the roastery, the head office, and that shop was there for many years, and she called me up and was upset because she saw the bills coming through the home fax, and it was $400,000, and we only had probably $80,000 in the bank. And she's like, how are you going to afford that? I'm a cash flow king. Like cash flow is everything. And I could always see what was going to happen. And then that February, so we opened December 1999 in Harbour Town. In that February, we did $700 days. And I was going, oh God. But see, again, what I do, I didn't go, oh, poor me. What am I going to do? I went out to Harbour Town, walked around and gave out free coffees and said, have you ever heard of Zarraffas? No. Let me buy you a free coffee. Come on in. And they'd come in and I'd get them as a customer.
Because at this stage, you still haven't had that big marketing push, right? You don't have that.
Didn't have the money. Didn't have the.
So they're just seeing a one-off store that kind of resembles a bit of a franchise model.
A lot of people think, oh, you're like Starbucks.
Yeah.
And then when Starbucks came, they said, a lot of the customers came in after they opened.
Yeah.
And they said, oh my God, we didn't know we had it so good for so long.
Right.
It's like, you know.
Yeah.
It's because we weren't just a brand. We still cared.
Yeah. Because Starbucks is not a coffee purist destination.
No.
Right. It's a marketing gimmick more than anything. It's the, sugar and coffee with some cream on top, as far as I'm concerned. But, so were you finding that people were comparing a little bit if they hadn't have been they were, but then once that, the good part is because we beat them even with the first couple of shops. Yeah, they actually helped when they came in, and Gloria Jeans came in. Actually helped because they helped train everybody what specialty coffee was on their budget. I just got on the coattails. I rode in the wave. I literally caught the wave of coffee, of specialty coffee in Australia. Yeah, I got on and I paddled like hell, and I was able to surf in on that first wave and make it. And I went back again. And literally, if I'd fallen off at any point, and you talk about hard, it was extremely hard. Yeah. One of my good mates didn't realize it was one of the first team members with me in Australia Fair. He didn't realize why I was such a dickhead the next day. It's because I was working at night to pay him. Yeah. I was working at Charlie's graveyard shifts in Broad Beach. Yeah. Oh, were you? Yeah. You were still working another job?
I was working another job while
getting the business
going.
Right.
Because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's, passion again. Passion is not there for when you're doing well. It's there for when you want to cry underneath the table. You're like, why am I doing this? And you go, that's why I'm doing it. And you get back up, you dust yourself off, and you get back to it. And you become tenacious again. You have to be, why am I doing this? Yeah. For me, the reasons were to prove everybody wrong at first.
Okay.
Which was good enough. It was a big, it's a big fuck you. Yeah. And now,
this is to everyone back home in America.
Everybody that ever displayed, everybody.
You.
Yeah. If you look though at the history, I started in a shop because I thought that was great. Then I realized we couldn't be in the shops on the first renewal in these centers. I realized there was no future for us, which was disheartening because we had like 10 at that point in the centers. And I was like,
so you grew to 10.
Yeah, and
under your own ownership.
No, we had franchises from the third one. So if you go back to Harbour Town, Rachel calling me up, she goes, is there another way you can do this? Because she saw those bills. And I like goalposts, and the new franchise code had come out in 1998. Okay. And I read through it and I thought, there's good in here, so I'll franchise. And
what was involved with that?
Getting a lawyer and an accountant. And the accountant's still a partner in the business. He put shares in. Yeah. I said, I can't afford you, so I'll give you a bit of the franchise and management side. And so there's still, the lawyer's no longer, but the accountant,
so they put the structure together.
Yeah, because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, right.
And my accountant was smart enough to put another $50,000 into the franchise part of the business, because I'd set up different, like roastery, shops, and then the franchise part. And I said, look.
So individual entities, all with their own individual cost center.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's important because then I could sell the stores. Yeah. Because I'd put my time and effort into the store. Why would I give that away? This was a new thing. But he gave me $50,000, and I went home and I said, Rachel, we've got $1 million company. She goes, no, we don't. I said, he gave $50,000 for 5%, so it's worth $1 million. That was me. I was going, $1 million. Didn't have it then. Yeah. And so for me, I needed those sorts of things too. It was encouragement that I was on the right track. Franchised our fourth store, so got another one going on Australia Fair on the other side.
And how did you find
the first store?
The franchisees?
Franchising was interesting. I think that they, like me, were new to it. Our first franchisees were very new to franchising. They'd never had a business before, and they'd never franchised before. Our first, dozen franchises.
Were they customers?
A lot of them were customers. A lot of them knew the brand that way. Knew so we had that comfortability. That part of the relationship was really good. So between the learning of franchising, for the first sort of to 2009, really the first drive-through, and so that first almost decade, and learning about franchisees, learning where our place was as a brand, Because closing the first stores down, even closing Australia Fair down during COVID, because I knew there was no future. And
Was that how long it was there until?
yeah, it was over 20 years.
Wow. It grew, obviously. It grew in terms of the size of the shop.
It grew.
Impact
We went
Fair.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Bigger site. We were
Yeah.
there for in that particular site for 20 years.
Yeah, I remember.
Harbour Town the same. But look, to Australia Fair's credit, the landlords there are different. You can talk to them, the actual landlords, where the other ones have got middle management. So
Yeah.
it's much harder to. They just don't care. They're all about
Yeah.
the numbers, and you don't provide, you're out. I'd seen the light anyway, so we're outside. Our first one outside was Crestwood, Nelson Avenue.
Okay.
It's now moved to the Ferry Road location drive-through.
Yes. Yep.
That progression, I used to think the brand was everything, but I thought the store is like, we're never going to close Australia Fair. We're always going to be there. And one of the biggest things over COVID, because we closed 23 stores, went from 93 down to 70.
Right.
Most of those were in centers and in strip malls.
And so were they individually owned?
A lot of those, we
Yeah.
owned a lot. We'd help the franchise into a franchisee partner into a drive-through,
Right.
or we would take them over and pay them out whatever some had left on their books.
Okay.
We'd run it to the finish of the lease, and we'd basically either
Right.
defit or debrand,
Yes.
depending on what the deal was. But
Or they would relocate to another.
or they'd go to a drive-through. A lot of them went drive-throughs,
Right.
which I'm really happy for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
How many drive-throughs are there now out of the 90 odd?
there's only 4 stores.
Only 4 drive-throughs.
So by the end of this year, there'd be maybe one less even, because we're slowly, these ones that are left, they're doing good money. The franchisees, we're looking for stores for them, and we'll help fund them in if necessary. We've done it a few times now.
Right.
Our franchise partners are everything to us. Without franchising and without the drive-throughs, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right.
COVID would have destroyed our brand.
Is that right?
I probably would have sold, been smart enough to probably realize it, seen the writing on the one sold. The good part is I saw where we could exist forever, 20, 30-year leases. They can't see what we do. And the landlord still does well. I'm a landlord in some of our own spots now too. And look, I know what it costs to build a site and, do all the civils
And they
and
weren't
get it up and
interested in
going.
carrying anything, landlords at the time. I mean, you got some.
No. Oh, look, again, I'll say
works.
Yufeng, the Rixes that are local on the coast, Norm Rix, there's some really good landlords out there. They're really good. But any of the big guys, when there's middle management, you can forget it. They've got numbers they're trying to reach, and that's all they care about. And you're a number to them. That's all for us now. There's only a few stores left. They're in smaller strip malls. The landlords are pretty darn good, but we want to relocate them, or they'll go. I mean, they see the writing on the wall too. But this isn't about us having our way. This is about us seeing a positive entry into another part of the business or an exit that's favorable for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't all be about the money. It's got to also be about these people. And a lot of the franchisees, to my surprise, over that whole time, they've come back that have left the business and said, I wish I'd never left, or I didn't realize we had it so good.
Really?
Yeah.
And you got multiple franchisees with multiple locations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some with 4 or 5.
Right.
The biggest thing now, Sterling, is our manager program, which kind of happened before we even realized it. We've got 25 stores owned by previous managers.
Is that right?
But the thing that's changed now is we're corporately financing the managers in. So we believe in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll no longer look outside the brand for new franchisees. It'll be all internal.
Wow, that's fantastic.
They've got to relocate. I mean, there's nothing left really on the Gold Coast
Yeah.
or Brisbane. Southeast Queensland's starting to,
Yeah.
get too
Who
tight.
maps out your development program there? For
I
you?
started with the analytics on the coast. I took what we did on the coast because we're here.
Yes.
We could understand the drive. Like I drive around and go, that's far enough away, and this
Yeah.
is a good corridor, and this is a good street. It's on the way into work. It's a good side of the road.
Yep.
I took everything we did well here, went to an analytic company that does this sort of stuff, and then they fed back the information that we had done here, and that's how, and that's grown. I mean,
Right.
it's probably one of the biggest parts of the business now, our analytics
Yes.
for future sites. And that's why every single drive-through does well. Some do really, really well, but
Yeah.
most do well enough that franchisees want another one.
So they take it that step forward. More, obviously, you take competitor analysis into consideration, sort of where your competitors are. Do you have any reservations around proximity to opening near competitors?
No.
I mean, some business owners like to sit in their pocket.
Get me next to the clown every time.
Yeah, that's...
We'll go, usually they're on the opposite side of the street.
Yeah.
Not in all cases, but most cases, because they're more lunch and dinner. I mean, they're a burger shop.
Right.
That thinks they're a coffee shop.
Yeah, right.
And we know what we are. And that's hard to compete against. So usually when we go in, I've had a few McDonald's franchisees come to me and say, well, there's that part of my business gone.
Right.
And they're the smart ones because it's true. We go in for the jugular and we know what we are and we don't confuse anybody.
Yeah.
The minute you start doing things that aren't who you are, what the core of what you are, you confuse customers and they go somewhere else. We know we're good coffee and good service and everything else is great.
Yes.
You know, it's convenience, the drive-throughs and all those sorts of things, but the core of who we are, it will never change.
Right. And are you thinking over the next, 5-10 years that run into the Olympic Games in Southeast Queensland, the progression, you mentioned you've got 90 odd stores at the moment. Have you got any sort of figures around where you think you might end
200
up?
stores by Olympics,
200
give or take.
stores?
Yeah, we'll have 200 stores by then.
So you'll double your presence?
Yeah.
And majority in Southeast Queensland?
No.
Oh, that's national.
So I'm going very shortly down to Adelaide and Melbourne.
Okay.
We've got our first sites opening down there, but we also bought a chain down in Adelaide, as we did in WA.
An
over
existing
10
chain?
years ago, an existing chain.
Right.
The one in WA we rebranded. The one down in Adelaide will do the same.
Okay.
But we're taking our time because we care about the staff. We care about the customers. We don't want to lose customers. It was a good business with good sites.
Yeah. So it was a privately held sort of group of
went down,
cafes
negotiated it over about a year and a half, and
right.
Earlier this year we took over and ran their business first. So the fifth store, which they hadn't completed, it's the same fit out as in the same building.
Yes.
But what we've done is we've taken everything we know and we fitted out Zarraffas.
Right.
The good part about that is everything going well there, we can then retrofit the other ones, knowing that it's going to be successful.
Right.
But we bought a good business. I think that's where a lot of businesses go wrong too. You go out and you buy to grow.
Yeah.
You buy a bad business to try to make it better.
Yeah.
So the locations, the leases, the customers, and the staff were all awesome. And it was worth
You pay
paying
a
for.
premium, but at least you know what you're going to get.
Might as well.
Yeah.
And then we're virtually integrated, right? So we
Yep.
do all the coffee, all the syrup, sauces, packaging at a good price. Like we're competitive, but
Yep.
we're a supplier.
Yep.
So we've got that virtual integration, so we get that as well.
And let's talk about that. That's all done out of Eagleby?
Yep.
Yep.
So there's about, in the Eagleby site, which is Distillery Road Market,
Yep.
there's half the building, about 10,000 square meters, which is 1,000 square meters of office. There's a coffee atrium, which is where we have our head office cafe, which is open to the public. And then we've got the roastery, logistics, about 7,500 square meters.
Okay.
We've just purchased another warehouse down in Tullamarine in Melbourne for distribution in the southern states.
So that's just holding?
Yeah, holding and distributing, no roasting.
Yep.
And literally, we're ready to go. Like we've been, before COVID, we were ready to go. The facility up there in Eagleby, I spent $20 million getting this in.
Yeah,
not as a landlord.
impressive.
The landlord part's separate.
Yeah.
Even though we own the building, it was big. And then COVID happened. I was like,
Yeah.
oh God. After 3 months, I held everything. After 3 months, I realized we're going to be okay. And
Yeah.
I started running. I was like, let's go. Let's close all these stores. Let's open up drive-throughs. But it's taken literally all these years to really get the momentum back. And it's been solid. Like Melbourne, Victoria in particular, but Melbourne and Adelaide and Greater South Australia, they're eating us up. Like the landlords are like, who are you? Which is,
Right.
it's kind of cool, but it's also a little bit frustrating because they need to get to know us. But when they do, they've gone, oh yeah, we're going to help you.
Melbourne's interesting, obviously known as the coffee capital of probably
Absolutely. Italians
Australia,
and Greeks.
if not the world.
Yeah.
How do they take to, let's call it a franchise brand, essentially, that it's not bespoke, it's not the little Lygon Street.
No. Well, we're not going to go to Lygon Street.
Yeah.
We're not going to. We have no interest in being the second cup of coffee.
Yeah.
We want to be the one in the suburbs on the way into work.
Right.
We will never go to those places because that's exactly a Lygon Street cafe belongs there. They're a family run. Sometimes decades, generational business. We don't want to compete in that sphere. The coffee industry is huge. we'd need a very small amount of a population within a certain amount of drive to make our existence relative to, and so we don't go for those sorts of things. That's 50% of the time I will go somewhere else too. If I go down to yoga, say at Palm Beach, I'll go have breakfast out and I'll have a coffee there and I'll go where somebody does a good coffee. And the one great thing about Melbourne in particular is that's what, when I went down to Frankston, I saw the coffee history, and like I didn't know what a flat white was or a float, with ice cream in it, those sorts of things. That's one of the things we do very different. We're an Australian brand. We're specialty coffee, but we're an Australian specialty coffee brand. So I didn't try to compete. I just assimilated, became Australian as a brand, and became Australian, 30 years here now. I felt like that was really important because it's so good. The coffee down there, especially, I didn't want to shy away from the fact of how well they're doing it. In fact, if anything, I think we'll be welcome with open arms because the second cup of coffee will be at Lygon Street or one of those really cool places downtown.
Yeah,
totally. We're never going. The rents are too high. They can have it. They earn it. Yeah. Congratulations. And I'll be one of the customers when I'm down that way for them too, because we don't go to the same place every single day, all day long. Look, I'm sure there's a few of my Zarraffa's customers, or Zarraffa's team that would go, I do. Yeah, you do. But you most typically, you don't eat at the same place and you won't have coffee at the same place because convenience. We want to be 50% of the time, though, where you are going. So you might go to other places sporadically, but we want to be the other place you think about. We want to be always on the mind. Yeah.
So in terms of your blends, are you predominantly a primary blend that gets distributed to all locations, or are you mixing up depending on
same
blend?
It's the Maasai blend.
Yeah. So do you have multiple blends? Do you have alternates?
So what we did a few years ago was we brought in the single origin and black label program. So things like that coffee for the rhinos. There was a coffee for the rhinos. We're about ready to find another co-op like Meru and Intangoro, which was a coffee co-op near Liwa Conservancy.
Okay.
And so it really came in together really, really well that here we've got this coffee co-op that's literally on the doorstep to protecting the rhinos and the fauna and flora. I did a doco that we do for our coffee tours, and I say in that what makes us Australian is our fauna and flora, and what makes them Kenyan is having giraffes and leopards and lions and rhinos roam freely. That is what makes them Kenyan. And without that, they lose who they are. It's that totem thing. It's just no different to our First Nations people here.
Yeah.
It's no different to the First Nations philosophy back in the States. When you lose that, imagine waking up to nothing, no sound of the birds that we have in this beautiful country of ours. Now, we know where we're at. You wake up. I've had that many trips. I used to fly 200 times a year. And I'd wake up and go, I don't know where I'm at. In Australia, I could wake up and know what time in the morning it is by what bird's calling. That's the sort of relationship that I pitched to the Kenyan co-ops. And so we bring that back into the coffee, and you've got this single origin coffee that we can have on the blend. It's a little bit higher priced because we're either giving back or there's a store behind it, or it's a small producer. So it's going to cost more.
So single origin being
it's one being from one farm usually.
From one
farm. It's an estate coffee, like you'd get an estate wine.
Yes.
You bring all those things together, and you've got a story behind that is, like I said, we buy fair trade. We aren't fair trade. Sorry, we are fair trade. We don't buy fair trade. We make sure that we're aligned with these co-ops and with the country of origin. And so what goes into the coffee then is not just that it's a good coffee, but also there's some real depth to it that you're actually helping literally back to the farm that you're buying from. So we do have those. We've got other ones like Java Gold, Rainforest, Midnight Cafe, which have been around forever, which are ones you can buy and take home and use at your home or office. But African Maasai will always be our main blend. It's it's got that East African feel, and it's like a tribute that I don't care what the prices do. And look, the prices of coffee have gone
Yeah, I can
tremendously
imagine.
up. I'm a good buyer.
Yeah.
I buy long. I don't
Yeah.
speculate. You can't roast speculation.
Yes.
So I buy really long, and I've got big warehouse. 10,000 square meters comes in handy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're ready. We're ready for
And-
that. We talk 200 stores. We can have probably 600 plus in Australia, New Zealand.
Right.
I'm not about to think about anywhere else in the world. I get asked all the time, "Are you going to go somewhere else?" I'm like, I can hardly handle
Yeah.
the challenge that Australia and New Zealand gives us. But in my lifetime, if I'm still associated with the brand in a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, if we're still doing good work and we're still providing the same customer service and growing, I've achieved from that point of view. The industry has given me a lot, but I've achieved a lot with it.
In terms of quantities and in terms of numbers, kilos per week, is there a figure that
Yeah, I think right now we're about 12,000.
12,000 kilos a week in production?
And that's with, right now that's only, I think we're opening another 4, so we probably have 86, 87 stores.
Right.
So it's a lot of coffee. It's over 100 kilos
Per store?
per store.
Yeah, which is massive.
It is.
Which is massive.
It is.
And in terms of staff and staff and also stakeholders around
So
the group,
Yeah.
Including the franchises?
there'd be over 3,000 people totally
Right.
making, whether they're going to school and they're getting through uni and
Yes.
it's supplementing their income, or it's their livelihood, like our franchise partners or executives, people working head office, it'd be well over 3,000.
Wow.
So when we're talking about doubling, we're talking about going, to 5,000 to 6,000 people Australia-wide. Most of the drive-thrus have 30 people, a couple full-times, a lot of casuals because they need the flexibility because they're going to school.
Yeah.
I mean, the coffee industry is a stepping stone. When I waited tables, I didn't want to wait tables forever.
Of course.
I did it because the money was good and, the tips, at least in the States, here the money was just good. Just the average hourly wage was good.
Yeah.
But, and the flexibility that gave you. And so this is a stepping stone. We'd rather a lot of those people step into the business now. That's what I've seen is after you've had somebody for 2, 3, 4 years and they really are good, why would you lose them from the business? I want to lose them into the business.
Yes.
I want to partner with them and I want to see, them do well for 20, 30 years. And I think that's going to be a definite game changer it already is. We've got 3 now that we've done where I've fully funded them in, and it's been the best.
So you fund
that
them
we've ever
in
done.
their franchise fee and fit out
All the upfront costs.
Right.
We've got a small nominal amount that I won't disclose, but it's enough that people can reach.
Yep.
There's got to be some.
So there's a bit of hurt money.
For them, it's probably a lot of hurt money.
Yeah.
Is
Is
I
that
know-
why you do it? Is that
Yeah,
you
I
want to
want-
see them committed?
Yeah, and they sign on all the same documentation and that. And but we've made it pretty easy. We're not the bank. We're not there to be a bank. We're there to help them, support them into a store, and then within a few years they've got to go get a, if not sooner, they've got to go
Refinance.
get a refinance,
Sure.
and they can't have another store until they do that.
Right.
But what's going to happen? 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to have another store, maybe 2.
Right.
So does it work? Absolutely. Is the best thing we've ever done? I think so. I think besides the drive-through change, I think the manager program in our business will be the fundamental thing that sets us apart from any of these other businesses.
At what point in the business did you start to let go as the entrepreneur, or have you even started to let go? Because there's obviously a lot of moving parts. You've got distribution, you've got production, you've got franchising.
I started to let go probably.
Have you still got stores?
No, we have a head office, and we just opened one up north because we couldn't find a franchisee. Although that looks like it'll sell quite quickly.
Yeah.
So it's going to go well. But
have you got a brewery?
Yeah,
Yeah,
got a brewery as
brewery
well.
out
That's my COVID project. I'll answer your first question. Look, what happened about 13 years ago? I had cancer, throat cancer, and I literally thought I was going to go. One of my mates did from a Rotary. He passed away 2 years after having throat
Sorry to hear
cancer,
that.
same sort of throat cancer. And I thought, honestly, okay, this could be me. And I woke up to myself and I made some changes. And I basically was so far out the front, I couldn't see anybody and they couldn't see me. I was so into the future that
So
I
you made
didn't enjoy
business-
today.
You mean business choices, business changes.
Business choices, just life choices.
Life-
I
life.
was living out in the future. And I just ran back and I just said, okay, you don't need an entrepreneur anymore. The business doesn't.
Right.
So our CEO,
interesting.
Marnie Sheldon, who's also, I'm very proud of her, and it's not because she's my sister-in-law. It's because she's been with the business for many, many years. She was an a franchisee herself, and then she sold that business. Her mom and her brother stayed, and they have a few stores up in Vicky Point and in that area.
Yep.
And she came in as a training manager and worked her way up. And when the CEO position, when I said, that's up, she goes, I want to do that.
Which was you? Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was, to your point, I was an entrepreneurial CEO.
Yes.
But the business
Which is sometimes not what a
needed an
business
administrative
needs.
or operational.
Yeah.
And we decided she's very operational.
Yeah.
So we now have an operational CEO, which makes sense. We're growing, we're evolving, and we need to open stores. So she's great for that. She understands that. She's got the respect of all the franchisees and all the team because she's been there, done that. So, eventually it'll probably be more of an operational administrative sort of CEO as it gets bigger. I mean, we're going to be a $300 million turnover business, next financial year. We're going to be knocking on that door. It's by the Olympics, double that.
Yeah.
That's no joke. There's a lot of people's livelihoods on the on the line there. So for me, how do I deal with the business? They use me as an asset where I'm really good. I'm good with analytics. I'm good with cash flow. And I'm very supportive. In other words, I give people the tools, empower them, and stay out of their way.
Yeah.
And you can't have two CEOs. So I'm MD. She runs the business really, really well. And then that brings us to what do I do with my days? Because I might do an hour or two a week with Zarraffa's unless there's something big going on, like the conference later.
Sure.
Later in the year,
Is this a franchise conference?
Yeah, having it down in Tasmania.
Yeah. So you get everyone involved.
Get everyone involved.
How many people?
I'm down there and I speak. Oh, there'll be about 200.
Okay.
200 show up. They usually bring their managers, and it's a good chance to get away.
Spend a couple of days down there. And
Yeah.
That's where you sort of reinforce culture.
And I always speak. They
share
always
the
want me to
vision.
speak, be a keynote. And at this point, it's like every year I go into
Do you have a shopping table?
show where it's going to go. Not yet. We're looking Hobart, Launceston. There's some possibilities there. Beautiful. I mean, I've been there for many, many years, but beautiful neck of the woods, obviously. So we'd love to eventually be down there. But we need franchise partners that are going to go down there. So I think that for me, the good part is I get to do the fun stuff. And now that we're big enough, we've got 10 people in our IT department. So when I talk about analytics, I can actually ask for things and get them and do something with it.
Right. So you get the data.
I've never been big on asking a question, not having something to do with the answer. It's just a waste of everybody's time. It's like having a comment. Like, what was that all about? Like, what's the reasoning for what you want to do? And I'll help you get there.
Sure.
So for me, that's fun, seeing the brand and all these other things happening with conservation. I'm still the face of the brand. I still do a lot of this sort of stuff because I'm the founder with my wife. She's a Warren Buffett. And I'm the entrepreneur. She's horse riding, and getting dividends that way, and super supportive of me and what I've done at Distillery Road Market. And again, during COVID, I had all that extra space, and rather than be bored, I started this Sugar Creek Smokehouse.
Oh, did you?
Which is a really busy now. It was a container at first. Now we moved it inside, and we got a big smoke pit outside. Right. One of the barbecue festivals a couple of weeks ago, we did 1,500 kilo of meat in one day, to give you an idea.
Wow.
How big it's gotten.
Wow.
We've got a brewery, 7 bars, and by the end of next year, we'll have about 13 eateries, including additionally another 6 food trucks, which will be specializing in different types of food, which we own under the Food and Entertainment District, the Fed, which you might see on the freeway going up to Brisbane.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen
the
it.
Food and Entertainment District on the front of the building. So that's an indoor, outdoor entertainment facility, which we've had Screaming Jets and
cool.
Grinspoon and a few other big country music fests. We just had Indie Fest not too long ago. So we do a lot of free ticketed, but now we're also doing big ticketed up to 1,500 people.
And Eagleby, which is essentially between Gold Coast and Brisbane, was that a strategic decision, or was it the right spot at the right time?
A bit of both. Strategic in that I could drive to it. It's just close enough. I don't like driving a long way, so it was just close enough. The building was dilapidated. It wasn't certified, and it had switched to Logan from Gold Coast with the Albert River over the time that it was in mortgagee in possession. And
what was it?
Well, it was a part of the old distillery. It was a restaurant from the 70s, and it was a bottle shop the size of Dan Murphy's back. If you look at 1970s pictures, it was a massive bottle shop.
Right.
It was on the main freeway.
Yeah.
It was on the old M1.
Oh, right.
So like the Atla Pie Shop, it was really, really busy. And then, of course, the freeway kind of killed that, even though it's very accessible from the freeway. Still, when you don't have that sort of traffic passing you by, easy access like it had. So, yeah, I decided to do a lager brewery, which has gone well. It's called Parenti. We've won already a world award for our dark lager, our Komodo Black, and we won almost the same for our Pure Crisp, which is our 5%.
Right.
We won the Australian award for that, but we almost took out the international. We're half a point behind, and which is pretty good going. Usually, you're decades in the industry before you do that. But like anything, I had the capital this time, and I said, best product, best thing, and we focused in on not being a part of the 500 craft breweries, but being a part of sort of in the middle ground of sessionable, good drinking beer, high quality, good ethanol, and we've got, I think, 11 beers right now, and they're all sensational, like just really, really spot on.
Because sometimes brewing beer becomes more about the brewer and the ego of the brewer, right? When they want to put one out for competition and the majority of people will have a tip and go, I can't drink that.
That's it.
I can't have 5
There's
or
not
6
one
of
of these beers, even our dark one, that you can't drink and it can't be sessionable. But the good part is we've got between 4 and 8 week lagering, so fermenting. Our biggest one's Copper Lager, which is a traditional Märzen. And it's an 8-week lagering process.
Yep.
And so our 1 million liter brewery would become a 500,000 liter brewery if we just did that sort of beer. But between that 4 and 8 week, we've got a rice lager called Inari, which is the homage to the Japanese style, and one called Shokai, which is like a first press. It is a first press beer, like Kirin. Right. So we're sort of doing the same thing in that industry as we did. Being a disruptor, we don't want to compete with 500 breweries. Yeah, we want to compete and get a slice of the bigger pie, but not lose who we are. So having the tap house and the beer garden, that seats over 300 people.
Do you wholesale that?
Really, really, yeah. We're in 54 retail outlets right now, and we're in one other one, 54 in Southeast Queensland. Right. So we've pretty much stuck around here. We're about ready to go in some more. We're in a couple of smaller venues on keg, on draft. Yeah.
And what's the brand called?
Parenti. So it's the largest, one of the largest, as to say, monitors in Australia. It's the fastest monitor in the world. So your dragon, like your Komodo, your Komodo Black's after the Komodo dragon to pay homage to the big boy. Sure. And Parenti, it's also the First Nations indigenous name for that lizard, Parenti. Right. It also is the army trucks we used to use. And they changed them to Mercedes, unfortunately, but they're still the 6-wheel Parenti off-road, military vehicle that they made for many, many years. So the idea is eventually to get with our special forces and our military and support that as we get bigger. And the actual coloring of the Parenti is green and gold, and it looks like dot painting. Right. Oh, so to me, when I looked at the animal again, it was a COVID project, so I spent a lot of time researching what to call it and what to name it. Yeah. And it's just, again, it's that real truth of Australia. It's an arid animal, and that's what we are, right? We're coastal towns because it's so hot in the middle.
True, very true. Did more go into developing this brand than obviously the Zarraffa's brand in the beginning?
Yeah, because I didn't know the industry at all. Right. So a lot of time, a lot of consideration, and we're patient. We want to be stayers, not players, and so
you have more capital now as well to invest in that brand development.
I mean, the thing that's keeping us alive, and I think the great part about what we have, and a lot of these other breweries do not have, and I would say out of that 500, maybe a handful would have a tap house and beer garden like we do. Right. So, I mean, last year we turned over $3 million out of that, which it kept the doors open. I mean, it costs a lot to set up, but the wholesale is where we will do it. So, for any of our Zarraffa's family out there, would really love the support because it's all about really world-class lagers, world-class beer made locally. So we're a super premium in my mind, a super premium beer, and we still are small, so we're never going to compete. We can't do 9-day beer. A lot of people don't know, that the process that goes in when the big breweries start to take over those brands, they commercialize it, and it is what it is. They can make beer that's affordable. Our beer is still affordable. It just is one of those things that we don't want to ever risk the quality for quantity. We just need a few more people coming in and buy and take home. We're about ready to do e-commerce as well, so that'll help. Getting beer delivered around, and so it's. I think by the Olympics again. By the Olympics, we hope to be. Because there's nothing in that area.
Yeah,
too.
you're right in that good
the
corridor.
Local that everybody takes.
Absolutely.
Everybody says, "Oh, you got to come here and come see Zarraffa's and come see the home of a really good brewery."
Have you thought about a potential exit at some point, leaving the brewery aside? Let's just talk Zarraffa's. Do you think about exits? Do you think about what's next? Potentially, I mean, everyone would have a number and a figure, I guess, in mind, but you're talking about doubling your business from now to 2032, which is a $600 million turnover, which, any acquisition would have a B involved. Is that something that you consider, something that drives you, or is it something that's just,
look,
if it happens, it happens?
There's been people look all along the way. There's never been a full-on approach. And will we go to the market? Well, we don't need to. The good part about Zarraffa is in the way that I've managed it, and that was for, especially the last 10 years, that was for not leaving my wife and my boys a bunch of debt. We've never been big on debt, and we're not. We've got good debt, and it's low.
Yeah.
So we don't need.
So serviced all out of cash flow, in other words.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, we left it in. I mean, there was times where Rachel's like, I need another dividend to pay the school fees, We literally left it in the business. Because once you take it out of the business, you're taxed on that, and you can't get that back. So it's money that could have been there to produce more. And so we've always left it in. It's been recently, we've done well enough at it that we could do things for our lifestyle, but we will never, like coffee on the floor, packaging on the floor, we doubled and tripled it during COVID and during what's gone on in the world.
Right.
With all the instability.
Yeah.
You can't roast coffee if it's not here, and you can't put it in takeaway if it's not here, and we don't produce that here. That's the one thing everybody in Australia needs to remember is everything is from overseas. So,
Can you warehouse
it'd be
green
better.
bean?
Yeah, up to 2 years in Grain Pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's got like a microclimate.
Right.
It costs a little bit more to put it into that sort of.
So that's in a specialist
bag,
facility, is it?
No, it's
you can do it.
Grain Pro bags. So the Grain Pro bags is like what grain would be put in.
Yeah.
It keeps out vermin. It also, when they spray, because a lot of stuff gets sprayed when it comes in the country, it also keeps a layer so the spray can't get on the coffee, which is great.
And so do you do that?
Okay.
Do you warehouse?
Yeah. Oh, we've got 6 to 9 months in,
Okay.
and they've got 6 to 9 months down in Sydney, our importers.
Right.
And there's always about the same on the water coming over. So I'll buy as long as 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't want to ever wake up and go, where's the container of coffee?
Yeah.
So we've always put in that way. We're coming back now because we're probably a bit over the top. So now we're going to still be double what we were pre-COVID on everything on the floor. But I was just, if you don't have it, that's a problem, and I never wanted to be in that position.
Yeah.
And the franchisees, when they come in, they realize what they were paying for. They were paying for stability, and everything that they get, they look at it and they go, oh, okay, yeah, I can see it. Yeah. And that will always be, at least in our ethos. Yeah. So will I ever sell? Maybe. I don't know right now. The only thing in my mind is supporting my CEO, supporting the team, letting them continue to open stores, because that's what it's all about. That's what we worked so hard for so many years, and we're now getting that. And whether or not somebody comes in and says, hey, we want to have a real serious chat, I think it probably will happen. I think it'll happen more and more as we go national. But at this point, it'd have to be a long-term partnership. It's going to have to be somebody big, and that's the other unfortunate part. It's a great part to have a great business.
There's not many players around.
And do I list? I don't know. We're a family business, and the scrutiny that can sometimes happen when you list, is that worth, achieving for what? For the money? Well,
to pull in extra capital, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, that's right. The manager program for right now seems to be self-fulfilling, and I mean, that in itself, when you look at 3 years, if I do what I want, there's probably 20 mil tied up in any one time over those 3 years.
Sure.
So, but the banks are even going, yeah, we'll support, because they're going to be the ones to refinance.
Yeah.
So they won't finance them for right now because they're new into business.
Yeah.
But after a year or two, it's
they got their
exactly the
figures.
customer they want.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll have a lot of support from the banks as well. So we really don't need it.
Yeah.
And right now, I've never had so much fun in the industry.
I bet.
I honestly feel like I'm a kid in a toy shop, and we've just arrived. Isn't that crazy? 30
Wow.
years, over 30 years in the industry.
Wow.
30 years in the brand next year.
That's
and,
fantastic.
For me, the other thing I especially want to do, because, I came to the Gold Coast and everything else is a postcard to me. I go to Sydney, it's a postcard. It's great. I love it. Cool, good food. The Gold Coast, I came home when I came here. Everything in my life that has happened to me that is good, the roller coaster ride stopped when I landed on the Gold Coast.
Really?
And, that kid that just didn't know what was going on now feels so grateful and so humbled by the fact that, and I get to have the weather that we have,
Yeah.
and the people that we have. And the Gold Coast has grown, and I think for the better over the time I've been here.
Yeah. What stands out for you over the last 30 years on the coast?
I think we haven't lost our surf and sand seaboard mentality. We're a seaside city.
Is that the casualness? Is that what you feel? That casualness of
I miss Friday drinks. I mean, some people are too, goody two
everyone's
shoes.
getting healthy? I mean,
I think there's a lot more of that. I think there's a lot more better. The better restaurants, by far, better restaurants. I think, you've got. In saying that, the transports, just because there's more people here, I think there's 150,000 or 180,000, something like that. Now there's 600,000 or whatever, approaching 700,000. You needed, there's more people, so it's probably a good thing they did the M1 when they did. That's what definitely opened us up. I think that, we're close to everything now. I mean, where we live out in the hinterland used to be the ass end of the earth. Same with Paradise Point. Now they're the center of the universe. They're just so accessible. They're so close. And I think the diversity of where we live is beautiful. I mean, we have jabiroos land in our dams. We have koalas, kangaroos, eagles land and hunt on our land and have their fledglings. I mean, where can you do that and then go to work in your 10 minutes from Coles and your 25 minutes from work? I feel like that balance of life still exists here.
And the coast has always been a place that it's been very difficult to make money if you wanted to live here, if you wanted to relocate here from Sydney or Melbourne, even from Brisbane, if you wanted to relocate. It was always been that place where I'd love to live there, but what am I going to do and how am I going to earn money? And it's slowly turning. There's much more opportunities here, much more opportunity for self-starters.
I think Yatala helped that. Yatala and the business districts around that. The accessibility to Brisbane.
It's just getting closer and closer, isn't it? Brisbane and the Gold Coast.
I think it's going to become a metropolis. The Southeast Queensland corridor all the way to sunny coast.
I agree.
It's already happening. I think by Olympics it'll definitely push it over the edge. And all we want is people in all parts of politics to come together on things that we all want. I think about our customer being able to afford a cup of coffee and being able to live on the Gold Coast and have it be affordable. And those things matter to me, and they always, always will. Am I political? No. I care about all Australians. I care about everyone. Now, doesn't mean you can have all your ways. We're still a democracy. You still run with, I might not like something, but I'll follow it. If that's what the majority wants, then that's why I live here, and I'm okay with that. You can't have everything your way. And so, I think that those sorts of things, I'll always, if somebody asks me, I don't care what side of politics, I'll tell you what I think. And what you do with that is up to you. But I believe that most Australians, and certainly most Queenslanders and most people on the Gold Coast, the majority of us want the same things. We want safety, we want good medical, good roads, and to support business, not get in the way, because small business are the lifeblood of this country and always have been.
Couldn't agree more. Change of pace. I'm going to finish up with a few quick fire questions for you.
Yep.
Firstly, what's in the Zarraffa's coffee cup? What do you drink?
This is now only a double. I've taken myself off the quads or the penta shots, the devil's work. I used to
a double
drink way too much, and I was getting a bit of my heart was racing too much. So I'm now into a double Americano, 3/4 full with a little bit of pouring cream.
Right.
And I used to have honey in it.
Yes.
Called it mother's milk. It was just the best.
Right.
I don't know why they took the honey out, but the sweetness I don't quite like. I like that stringent kind of tanginess that comes out in the coffee and the cream. And that's pretty much it every single day. I get handed that by my professor of jiu-jitsu, and then he beats me up every morning. I can't escape it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a purist one.
Very good. I'm a double espresso man. I probably have 3 or 4 a day, I'd say. Probably 4 a day. 3 o'clock in the afternoon is my last
If I
one.
had 4, they'd have to lock me down.
Really?
I just can't do it. I used to.
You'd be dangerous.
I used to even do an octashot.
Really?
Yeah, the 8-shotter. My favorite number, and I used to do it. And
So that's quite long then.
my poor wife, she raised the flag going, oh, those were the days.
Wow.
I was definitely the Tasmanian devil. I was a goer, but you need to fuel yourself with whatever you can to keep going. There's no excuses, so coffee is a good additive to having a great day if you want to. So.
And a mentor, has there been a mentor that you've sort of relied on, that you've confided in, that you've taken advice from at times?
I mean, personally, I said it before, my grandfather and my father-in-law, for sure.
Right.
Business-wise, certainly people like Norm Ricks, who's a developer, especially when I bought the new building.
Yep.
He came through the building and was like, this is big.
Wow.
You've really taken on something big here. I'm like, I know.
Yep.
Very, very supportive. Gordon Nuttall, which had PRD nationwide and sold that. He was very instrumental in, he said, are you chasing a number? So he knows people like Tribagoff and all these guys that just want more money. And good on them. I mean, they're helping the whole community, right? You've got more taxes, more employment, more accommodation because of people like that. But I said, no, I'm not chasing a number. I'm chasing my journey and seeing other people do really well. My love of that now is seeing the franchisees come through and seeing their lives change and being there for them now as the mentor, saying, be careful what you wish for and take your partner for the ride. And, you're going to leave things behind if you just want more money. It's got to be a holistic approach. But yeah, there's been people like that. I had a gentleman, Terry Wimberly. He was the head of Harbortown. He gave me that start there. He was our first chairman of Zarraffa's board. He passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago now. But he was personally and business a very, very large part of the dynamic of how to grow here in Australia. He was an expat as well on how to function well here in Australia, and especially the Gold Coast. And there's been a lot in between. There's Katransky, way back in the beginning. He passed away 8 months after I got the business going. But he's the one that gave me the start and Pinner Drive for the first roastery.
Right.
I had no money, and I was trying to do a deal with his director of leasing, and then he called us into the office. Never met him before. I think he was 82 or so at the time. And he said, what do you want? And I said, well, I want 6 months free rent, and I'll do a 3x3 lease, and I need you to put the electricity to my roaster I just bought from Sydney. And he goes, we'll do it.
Wow.
And I remember the director going, we will? Like, we don't even know this kid. And he said to me, I can see it in you. You're going to do it.
Wow.
And you've got one thing on me. Seabank Building, Katransky, like K Group.
Yeah.
That guy, like he was massive in his time for what he did for the community here. And he said, the one thing you got on me is I couldn't speak English when I came to this country, but I can see it in your eyes going to do it. He passed away before I really got going. And years into me having some success, I'd get a tap on the shoulder. And I still do every 4 or 5 years. I get a tap on the shoulder from one of his relatives saying he'd be so proud of you. He told us about it. He said, watch out for this boy.
Is that
He's going to go somewhere.
Wow.
You watch out for him. He's going to do it. I can see it.
Wow.
I can feel it. And when I found out after he passed who he was and what he'd done, it meant a lot. It was one of those encouraging things that I kept really in the core of who I was. I thought, it's not about letting him down. It's about proving him right.
Yeah.
And saying, yeah, you're right. You did see something. And even some of the previous directors that brought me over, Tony Williams that first brought me over here, he was one of the founders of BB's Coffee and Bake, one of the founding directors of Retail Food Group. Him bringing me, first of all, to Australia, but also he was one of the people to come back and apologize to me at the first Store in Australia fair and say, we had you wrong, we misunderstood you. And then like 40 people lined up and he goes, we really misunderstood you. Wow. And to me, it was like, well, thanks. You brought me here and did they screw me over? I don't know.
Turns out not in hindsight.
Turns like I needed to come here. Like,
yeah.
It's an interesting thing, life. The good part now is whatever's left for me in my life, I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying today. And I'm enjoying watching other people's success. And so for me now, it's about trying to become a mentor. It's one of the reasons I'm doing things like this is trying to be inspirational to people and letting them know both sides, though, that it can be a lot of fun when it's fun, but you got to be prepared for the not fun times. And you have to have really good people around you that will support you, and you'll support them during the times that aren't, because those times do exist and they always will.
Well, Kenton, it's been great to speak with you, and I mean the time's flowing, and striking golds. It's about those that are resilient, those that show grit, and those that get up after numerous knockdowns, and you've certainly done that. So thank you for sharing your story, and
thank you.
All the best over the next 5 to 10 years with Zarraffa's.
I appreciate it very much so. Thank you.
Thank you.